Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the morning of Thursday, the 4th of September. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right, okay, obviously we saw the decline on Monday. I did a post yesterday. I was talking about the open buy signals here on the futures, and we are coming back up, and we are back testing the weekly pivot at the moment. We have not made target. Or the possible near-miss target on ES. We have made that, the possible near-miss target on NQ. We haven't yet made it on RTY or YM or ES or ESTX. And so I'm leaning towards seeing some more upside. And I was talking about the possibility that we might well be going back and retesting this high, which I'm thinking we may well do. We shall see. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Looking at the ES charts, obviously we saw a, we saw a break below the daily middle band, and obviously it recovered back over it yesterday. That wasn't surprising. So bear with me a moment, sorry. It's right. That wasn't surprising. I was expecting to see a break back above, but it was an interesting sign of weakness that we did see a gap below and a trade below it. But as I was saying, it wasn't likely to get followed through, and it hasn't been. So we will see how that develops from here. But I'm not seeing much reason at the moment to think that we won't see a high retest. Looking at the Qs, we made it down more or less into a test of the 50 DMA, which we got slightly below. Nice rally from there yesterday. This closed slightly back above the daily middle band, although to be honest, it was only 2 above. So I think, while that was a clear close above, it wasn't one with confidence. I'm expecting that to get built on today. What are we looking at in terms of a pattern here? I'm wondering if we're looking at a triangle here, actually. And I think we might be, in which case this would be a bullish triangle setting up a retest of the high. Looking at Dia, we came pretty close to a test of the daily middle band, and heading up from there at the moment. We did break the rising wedge support, which I'll come to. But in terms of what are we looking at in terms of immediate reversal patterns suggesting that we might go down, I'm not seeing an awful lot. Maybe. We do have an RSI 5 sell signal fixed on IWM. On the 15-minute chart, we've got a possible head and shoulders forming here. Not particularly high quality, but it's a maybe. All right, let's have a look at the hourly charts. And on SPX, we've got a nice looking double top here. If we go back and retest the high, that would set up a slightly smaller double top of similar quality, unless we see a breakup with some confidence. On the Qs, we've got a possible head and shoulders here, which is broken down. Not feeling particularly sold on this. It's not a great looking pattern, but it is valid. So this could break down, but on a break over 578, I'd be looking for a retest of the high here at 583.32. All right, looking at Dia, this looks like a bull flag, and on YM, it's a clear bull flag channel. So leaning towards this, seeing a retest of the high, and as I said, possible head and shoulders forming on IWM. That could be valid. I mean, we haven't got an awful setup to see a continuation down from here after a quick rally, but I've got to say it's not good either. So we'll see. All right, let's have a look at DAX. DAX, we actually saw some real weakness, and we've got a large looking double top here. It hasn't broken down yet, and we were hitting the we were below the daily lower band, so we might be just looking at some consolidation. I'll be interested to see whether it can get back up to the daily middle band and the 50 DMA, which are double resistance above. I'm leaning against it not making it back there, I think. Nikkei, we've got an RSI 5 sell signal, which has now made the full target. We saw a break below the rising wedge support. We've still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. Good area to see a little rally here, but obviously I'll be watching the daily middle band to see if that is still resistance. And I've got that currently at 42.539. All right, let's have a look at the dollar. Now the dollar's trading on a range at the moment. We got to the bottom of the range, we've gone back and almost to the top of the range. We've got a little double top here, which is trying to break down, supported the weekly pivot. 60-minute sell signal is fixed. I'm thinking this might make target and take us back to the bottom of the range. That would deliver us there almost exactly. We'll see how that develops. In terms of the other currency pairs, we're just trading a range on euro as well. GBP USD, this kind of looks like a bull flag. USD JPY kind of looks like a bear flag. We've got a little level top trying to break down here, which hasn't really made much progress so far. Week 60-minute sell signal has reached possible near miss target. USD CAD, still wondering about a possible retest of this high with this bull flag breaking up. Australian dollar and NZ, not an awful lot to see. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Okay, on the US dollar, we've got a pretty nice looking, we've got an IHS here, which broke up with the target in the 101.6 area. That hasn't failed yet, but we also got this very nice looking rising megaphone bear flag, which has broken down, and I'm wondering whether that's going to deliver a move down to retest the low at 96.38. If we do that, then that will, hang on, that will potentially take us through this rising megaphone support that we touched a couple of months ago. Overall, this is still a nice looking bull flag, and I'm still thinking this might deliver, or at least it's a nice enough setup. It's a very nice setup. So until that we see some sort of definitive breakdown, I'll be bearing in mind that this may well make target and deliver a retest of the high here at 114.78. In terms of the short term, I don't think we've got pretty much got any daily sell signals here. Next obvious target would be a retest of this high on 118.30, and that would be obviously a retest of the low or pretty close to it on US dollar. Not a lot happening here. Might be an overall bull flag on GBP. USD JPY kind of looks like an overall bear flag. USD CAD, got an IHS trying to break up here, but actually I think, has that already failed? No, it hasn't quite failed. It came close though. But I don't believe it has failed. Hang on, I'm just going to draw the line. Right, bear with me a moment. No, it just held. So that hasn't failed yet. This could still deliver to the upside. Waiting to see. But really, we've been seeing more sideways. We've not really been forming any patterns worth a mention. Possible level top breaking down here on NZ, but at the moment we're not getting an awful lot of direction from any other currencies. Okay, looking at ZB. ZB, we saw a nice move up, had a buy signal that made target, little double bottom here. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing, and we're getting pretty close to this possible flag resistance, which is a target in about the 114.32 area. So wondering about a move down here. We'll see. Looks very different on ZN, where we've got a possible double top here, and I'm wondering about a move down. Keeping an open mind. All right. Looking at those on the bigger picture, TYX, we haven't got anything in terms of signals. Again, we've been going sideways quite a bit. This looks like a triangle on TYX. On TNX, kind of looks like a triangle too, actually. We've been holding this rising support trend line, which I've been watching with interest, and that's held so far. But obviously, we've been testing it, and if that breaks, then that's a significant rising support trend line broken. Although it would set up a move to a possibly more significant one down here. That would be bearish, but at the moment we're not seeing an awful lot. There's no signals. A lot of sideways trade, of course, doesn't tend to generate much in the way of signals. Nothing on the hourly chart either, and nothing on TLT really. So we'll see. Again, we're trading sideways, waiting for direction. Now, Ray Dalio was making an interesting pronouncement, basically saying that, I was writing about a bonds crisis last year that I was expecting to happen sometime in the next year or two. He reckons it might be as long as 3 years before we see it, but he's expecting to see it too. I think really on the current fiscal trajectory, it looks pretty inevitable unless the Trump administration starts being more fiscally responsible. That doesn't seem to be, would seem a major breakaway from its traditions. So I'm not really expecting to see that, but we'll see. All right, CL. CL, we had a flag which is broken down here, and I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this low, and possibly a move down into the 50s. We do have short term a little buy signal, weakish buy signal here, which has just fixed, I think, or is in the process of fixing at the moment. HO, I've got a possible flag here too. Obviously, next target would be the flag support down in the monthly pivot area currently at 2848. Looking at RBOB, we've got a little head and shoulders here, which is broken down. It might fail, although it take a while. Need to get, these were very steep shoulders. Very spiky pattern, but we'd take quite a large move up for this to fail. If it goes and makes its target, that's down at about the 1.953 area. NG, we're breaking up from an inverted head and shoulders here. Nice falling wedge. It's broken up. I'm leaning towards that making target. As I said, we're going into a seasonally strong period where coming at the start of winter, where we would tend to, and into Christmas, where natural gas prices would tend to go up, and this is a reasonable fit with what we would expect to see there. This has got a target in about 3.32 area, and I'm thinking that may well deliver. All right, let's have a look at that on the bigger picture charts. And oil. Oil, RSI 5 buy signals reached the possible near miss target, so this little rally may well be over. We're testing the daily middle band at the moment. It needs to get back below that. Obviously, we saw a fail at the 50 DMA. That's a good area to fail. And if we get back below the daily middle band here, I've got that at 63.69. Then I'd be looking for a move down to retest 61.65 and maybe significantly lower. Bigger picture, we've got falling wedges on all of WTIC, on heating oil and gas oil. And all of these are forming reversal patterns. Now, we could go straight up directly from here. This could be an IHS right shoulder forming here, but I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this low here at 56.06. We shall see. But I'm quite liking that until we see some evidence to the contrary. On heating oil, got the same wedge. On gas oil, got the same wedge. All of them broken up. All of them looking for reversal patterns. We don't have an IHS forming on heating oil. If we saw retests of the lows across the board, that would set up the reversal patterns and potentially be the start of a fairly sustained move up. We shall see how that goes. All right, let's have a look at natural gas. Natural gas, bigger picture, I was leaning lower, but I think we've come into this period of the year where we've got a rise of about 135 last time I looked over the next 3 months, and this is an obvious time for us to find support. After that, I'm thinking we may well continue on the path downwards. But in the meantime, we may well see a move back up to the 4 area. I would note we've got a head and shoulders here. Didn't quite break down, I think, but it's not the greatest head and shoulders. So I've got mixed feelings about it, but I am wondering about it. We did see a slight break below that. This could reject back up into the high at 4.59. All right, let's have a look at precious metals, and I've got an interesting new chart to show you today. Now, obviously, we've finally gone and retested the all-time high, and about bloody time too. 60-minute sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. We've seen a little bit of retracement from the high on SI. We have gone up and we've made a clear break over 40. I'm thinking this may be opening up the next target, which is a retest of the high in the 49.50 area. On palladium, we've got an IHS which has broken up with the target in about the 12.55 area. On platinum, we broke the flag set up here, and we broke it pretty hard, so I'm not expecting any form of this really to come back. We will see how that goes from there. Sorry, I'm just wondering about the trend line. Wait a second. No, not quite. So I'm thinking we see some retracement here, and then I'm wondering about seeing a retest of this high here, just slightly over 1500. HG, we are still in this seemingly eternal bear flag forming, after which I'm expecting to see a modest move down to retest this low here. We will see. All right, looking at the bigger picture. Right. I've done a new chart on gold because really we've got no targets above here. We're not really looking at any patterns here on the analog charts. There's not much to work with. Obviously, we had a bullish triangle here that's made target at a retest of the high. So the question is, what happens here? Now we could reverse and do a larger retracement here. Nice, clean, and fairly strong break here, which is weakening that by the day as this goes higher. But this, I think, is the overall pattern setup here. And for this, I've moved over to the log chart. Now, this here, obviously on the log chart, is a little more difficult to assess targets. This line here is the amount of space on this chart it takes for price to double. So what I'm looking at here is we've got a perfect channel. I've got a perfect channel, and up here in early, if this was to hit this trend line here in early 2027, then this would get us up into look for a target about the 7100, 7200 area. I think that's pretty good. That's a reasonable look at where this is going historically. Well, obviously, we've seen some major trends in the past. I'm liking this. I think this looks pretty good, and I think it may well deliver. We will see how that goes, but I'm thinking that may well be the next target. So I'm going to be doing a post about that in the next week or two. But that's what I'm looking for the target here. This trend line over the bigger picture, and this is really over the big picture. This chart goes back slightly over, well, almost 50 years. It's on the bigger picture. I quite like these charts, and the kind of distance this has moved. I was thinking this might actually do pretty well on this chart, and we've got some decent trend lines here, and this is a very, very nice channel. So that's what I'm looking for here. Now, obviously, where we hit this trend line is all about price and time. But at the moment, I'm sort of penciling in a target in the 7,000 area. All right, let's have a look at the gold daily chart, where we're looking kind of overbought. No current divergence. We're on the verge of losing. If we go a little higher, we'll lose this daily RSI 14 sell signal. But I've got to say, the RSI 5 here, we're getting to a point where I'd be looking for some retracement. Like the retracement we saw down here. So we will see. Silver, we've seen a very promising break beyond this resistance trend line here. Now, if we go beyond this resistance trend line, and hang on, I'm just going to expand this chart a lot. All right, hang on. You can see where resistance is here. It is not hard to see. We've got obviously this high from 1980, late 79, I think, in 49.45. We saw a tiny break above it at the last high at 49.51. If we're getting beyond this trend line here, it's pretty obvious where we would be heading next, and it's up into a retest of 49.51. So I'm thinking we might be on the way there. We will see. We're on the verge of losing this RSI 14 sell signal on the monthly chart. On the weekly chart, possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing, but we could easily go through it. On the daily chart, again, we're looking a little overbought short term, but this could be a solid break, and this could actually see it a strong breakthrough. And actually, that is something I would like to see. We will see how that goes. Looking at palladium, less optimistic about the prospects for this chart. Daily chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, and the RSI 5 buy signal has made target already. Looking at platinum, still got strong resistance here in the 1500 area, still not been broken with any confidence. We could break above it, but we don't have really a larger reversal pattern to take us anywhere. We don't have a decent reversal pattern. So until this resistance is broken, I'll be considering it seriously, and I'll be thinking that it might well be a bull flag, which would be the bear flag, which would be the obvious reading. I am wondering about a retest of this high here in the short term, potentially to set up the second high of a double top. All right, looking at copper. Copper, I've been waiting for the next move down. We will see how that goes. But on the weekly chart, really, I'm looking for a test of this trend line here down in about the 3.9 area. Looking at the daily chart, no current divergence. This looks like a bear flag forming. Possible resistance and high could be at the 200 DMA at 4.62. Looking at GDX and GDXJ, nice moves up, no negative divergence, gone well beyond this trend line here now, and GDXJ has finally broken beyond the trend line there too. So we're out in fairly uncharted territory, although GDXJ obviously is still well below the 2011 high, whereas GDX is now well above it. Nothing compelling saying either of these is going to be reversing soon. In fact, actually, the current weekly sell signal that we've had for a while here on GDX just failed in the last week. So looking pretty promising to the upside. All right, let's have a look at the other commodities. KC, nice looking double top here, might well play out. SB, possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. We're coming into a retest of this low. I am wondering about this going significantly lower. SB, CC, possible bull flag forming here, might be a bit oversized, doesn't have a decent looking support trend line, or at least didn't have last time I looked. Nope, doesn't. So it's not a flag I would call with any confidence, but I am wondering about possible bottoming action here, maybe a double bottom forming. On CT, we went back and made a retest of this low. I've been talking about this as a potential target to be hit before we see a major low, and I've drawn in this line here because this would be double bottom resistance on a potential a pretty large double bottom. This would take us a small distance. Even if this makes target, that would be a relatively small distance on the bigger picture chart. I'll show you where that is on the daily chart, but potentially this could be the start of a large move up. Lumber, we are breaking down, and I'm thinking this could go a lot lower. ZW, we've got a retest of this low, and I would love to see this go a little lower. We will see. But I'll show you why I think that on the daily chart. But I think I was mentioning at the on Monday that we had a target below I'd quite like to see hit, and I think it may well be heading there. On corn, we've got an IHS which is broken up with a target in the 441 area. No current divergence. Seeing a bit of a pullback here, that is not unusual. On soy, had a nice looking flag here, and that has unfortunately failed. We've got down to a potential head and shoulder neckline. Currently, we're going through it slightly. I'm wondering about a right shoulder mounts and possibly setting up a head and shoulders to go lower. Looking at soybean oil, potential little lower bottom here. Waiting to see if that develops into anything. Live cattle, just consolidation sideways, looks like a bull flag or triangle forming. And lean hogs, we've been seeing a little bit of a pullback. I am wondering about this very nice looking resistance trend line, part of a pretty decent looking overall rising megaphone, and we will see how that develops today. But at the moment it's holding that resistance. I am wondering about a possible move down to the megaphone support, which I've currently got in the 89.5 area. All right, let's have a look at the big picture chart there. And okay, coffee. Coffee, we've got actually some daily sell signals forming fixed here. We've got a weak RSI 5 sell signal, weak RSI 14 sell signal. I would say if we do another retest of the high, then we could get full size sell signals on both brewing. Looking at the bigger picture chart, I am wondering about a possible retest of this high here at 4.408. Looking at sugar. Sugar, obviously, we've got this apocalyptic target potentially down in the 6.59 area. I am wondering about a retest of this low here at 1544. So we will see whether we get that. This isn't a little level top though, it's a little bit too large. Resistance of the weekly middle band so far at 1670. This again is making me wonder about a retest of the low. This looks like a bear flag, which is breaking down with a target at a retest of 1544. If we were to see that, that could be the second low, could well be the second low of a double bottom. Right, CC is trickling lower. Is this a double top? No, it's a bit too large, but it doesn't mean we couldn't break down from it. Looking at the daily chart, we've seen almost a retest of this low here at 7208. We could see a full retest of that, and that could be setting up a little double bottom. All right, wheat. Slight price dissonance, I think partially because, well, this is a spot price and not a futures price, but we need a little lower low beyond this 495, 497.50 to get us down to this low here at 495.50. If we reach that, that could be the second low on a large double bottom, and I'm thinking we may well be reaching that soon. That looked like unfinished business. It looks like we might be going to get that. Looking at corn, we've got a weekly RSI 5 buy signal fixed. We've got a potential overall double bottom here. We already made the target at a retest of 385. I'm quite liking the upside here. Might need a bit more consolidation before we see that, and I don't see a reversal pattern at this scale on the daily chart. We could pull back, do a right shoulder, form an IHS. Alternatively, we could do a retest of the low and form a double bottom. On soybeans, we've still got a bear flag, which is broken down and not made target yet. I'm still wondering about a retest of this low here in the 93606 area. Looking at the daily chart, we've got an RSI 5 sell signal, which is fixed, but it's pretty much almost made it to the possible NIMS target already. That's not necessarily going to get us into a retest of the low, but I am wondering about that possible low retest. Looking at cotton, this would be a little double bottom, and we've already got a double bottom here. I'm thinking this could go up a lot. This has come down from 158 to 57. This little double bottom here would only get us back into about the 87 area. This could go a lot higher. And this wedge finally broke up. This was the only one of the commodity wedges that hadn't broken up, and it now has. I'm thinking this might have a lot of upside ahead. On lumber, I'm thinking that we've got a double top here. That's now broken down. I was talking about this when we were up at this high on 698.50. This could be the second high of a double top. We have come down. The target would actually be in about the 360 area. That is a long, long way down, and actually, really, that would be the double top target, but the flag target would be a retest this low here at 352.50. I'm still thinking it could drop. Lumber could drop a third from here, so really, on any rally, this looks like a sell. Short term, we're on the verge of losing this weak RSI 5 buy signal. And no divergence currently on the daily RSI 14 chart. All right, let's have a look. Final look at cryptos. So let's have a quick look. Okay, crypto. Looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the key support I was looking at was at the weekly middle band. We've come down, we tested it, we closed slightly below, and we've gone back above for the moment. If that holds, then we'll probably go back directly into a retest of the high. If it doesn't hold, if it doesn't hold and it breaks further down, then I've got an open double top target, obviously in the 99 to 100k area. All right, let's have a look at Solana. Solana on the weekly chart is in solid uptrend territory, pretty close to the weekly upper band. On the daily chart, no current divergence. I do have this trend line here I'm looking at about the 222 area, but of course we've also got this IHS which is broken up with the target in the 283 area, and I'd really, if we got that far, I'd be looking for a retest of the all-time high here at 294.95. Looking at the hourly chart, we've got a possible double top here. If Bitcoin breaks down and makes 99 to 100k, then I'd be thinking this was on the cards. Otherwise, this is just on the way higher. But at the moment, we're at a point of decision. We're not going through to significant higher highs yet. We're waiting really for Bitcoin to decide, I think. Looking at Ethereum, we've been pulling back slightly from the new all-time high we finally made at 4958. 4955.89. We've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing here, but I'm looking higher really. We've got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the daily chart, but it's not an awful lot to see. We've got the daily middle band at 44.44. We are slightly below it at the moment, so if we see a break back above that, that would be bullish. We do have a potential double top here too, which I'm watching, and on a sustained break below 406.226, then we could be looking at a target in about the, well, roughly speaking, the 3200, 3300 area. And that wouldn't be a bad match with this trend line. Not really expecting to see that, but it is a possibility. But really, we're waiting for Bitcoin here. Is Bitcoin going to hold this support, or is it going to fail? So that decision is still being made. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys again on Sunday.